Hello and welcome. I am Ben the Best 5 and this is another Kerbal Space Program video which I am producing for your enjoyment. Now this video is kind of a follow-up to a previous video. So I previously did a video where I sent a probe to Eve for about just a little bit over 10,000 funds. However, someone in the comments, and yes I do respond to every single comment, so this is me responding to that comment, they said that they reckon that they could do it cheaper. So I am in fact doing exactly that. I am sending a similar payload to Eve, however I am spending less funds to get it than I did last time. Because this time I am spending a grand total of 8,428 funds, which is, well, about $2,000 cheaper than previously, and I couldn't feasibly find a way to make it any cheaper. However, if you can, in the comments, think of an idea on how my launch could have perhaps been a little cheaper. Do let me know, because I'm always interested in that sort of stuff. So the actual rocket itself, I'll just talk about real quickly. So I had a solid rocket booster to boost me up out of the upper atmosphere with fins, because it needed fins to steer, because I tried launching it at an angle and seeing if that would be good enough just to, bring me out of the atmosphere, or close enough to out of the atmosphere that I would be able to successfully use my upper stage, but unfortunately I couldn't do that, so I had to steer it. So that in all cost me about $3,000, and there is no way that I could actually put in a recovery equipment that would cost less than that. So as a result, I have I just had to do it that way. And as for the upper stage, I used the Spark engine instead of the Terrier, because although they were both viable options and would both provide me enough upper stage delta V to perform a mission such as this, the Spark is about 100 funds cheaper, so that excuse me, I was able to save some funds by using that engine instead of that one. For the rest of it, I included the bare minimum communications gear to still communicate with the KSP. I included I chose the cheapest probe I possibly could. Now, you might have noticed that it's not the cheapest probe in existence, because I could have chosen the one with absolutely no guidance or no prograde or retrograde guidance. However, I needed one with retrograde guidance, just simply because in order for it to hit Eve's atmosphere successfully, I would have in fact needed to have when you're pointing directly retrograde, so all of your heat shield is hitting the atmosphere, because if you're not doing this, then everything will just burn. Like, it has to be perfectly, and anything not behind that shield just burns. So because of that, I needed to have a core which was upgraded to have retrograde pointing, but I used the cheapest core of those available. So yes. Also, in order to ensure my efficiency, you could see that I launched at a transfer window roughly, and I am in fact performing my transfer at a supposed transfer window. Now, someone in the comment section told me that I should in fact aim for a 45-degree transfer window instead of the kind of 15-degree transfer window I normally kind of go for, but that kind of led me off course by a bit, and I ended up having to burn in and out instead of just prograde and retrograde, which would tend to suggest that maybe that's not a perfect transfer window. And you can just see me here making a small correction course. This is just simply because I couldn't get a precise enough burn from Kerbin, especially where I had to manually target the nodes. However, I was able to get a good launch into actual Eve space by just being very, very careful and ending up with a periapsis which hit the atmosphere at about the point I wanted, which was nice. So yes, anyway, this is basically the cheapest I could get at 8,428 funds. If anyone thinks that they could build a craft of a capable of the same capacity of transporting the same amount of mass to the surface of Eve one way, 800 kilograms, then go ahead, try and beat that. This is kind of like a running, I'll try to get this as like a running channel thing, where this can be like an ongoing challenge between the people in my comments section and myself and the other people in the comments section. It's going to be great for community, and I do really want a community. Also, speaking of community, I do have a Discord server you can join if you want to, chat with me. It's not super official, but, if it does get some traction and does build up, then we'll see how we go. Anyway, I did miss talking about my slowdowns. Basically, I use the remaining fuel to slow down because the heat shield itself isn't enough just to simply bring it into the surface, into the atmosphere of Eve and not burn, so I use the remaining upper stage to slow my payload down sufficiently that it wouldn't burn up as soon as it hit the atmosphere, which is why I in fact had that extra 600 meters per second of delta V when I could have removed fuel. I actually needed that fuel, and you might have noticed that my communications antenna burned off. I thought that this would happen, and this in fact did not bother me, just simply because I just need to get the payload to the surface of Eve. It doesn't have any science on it this time, whereas it did the last time, and because of that I can just simply and I was able to deploy a parachute before the batteries ran out, which is all that was really important. So this thing here will drop nice and safely to the ground. And yes, I did deliberately talk over that because I knew that I'd have a long time to watch it drop down, so I figured I might as well time it like that, so I've got something to talk about. So anyway, as it touches down, well, soon, it actually takes a long time, and in fact I've never actually made a return from Eve with Kerbals. I've made probes that have returned from Eve but never actually Kerbals, just simply because I build a craft right. It's like all the crafts you see on YouTube and stuff, but it re-enters right. The heating's not the issue. The fact is it enters the atmosphere and then all the aerodynamic forces rip it apart in ways that shouldn't happen. So yeah, really confusing. Anyway, yes, we are about to touch down on the purple surface of Eve, and we are down. Mission successful. So anyway, thank you very much for watching my content as you usually do. This one in fact wasn't part of a series, it was just a standalone, and it was basically just responding to a few comments that I've seen people making and tailoring my content around that, just because I want to engage the fans. The fans, my audience, this is why I do it. I'm not getting any monetization yet, so it's purely done kind of for that reason. So because of that, that's why I did this. Just anyway, if you would like to help contribute to, I guess you could say, my channel, its fan base, whatever, go ahead, enter the Eve Lander challenge and make a lander like this as cheap as you possibly can. Otherwise, you can support my channel by liking this video, leaving a comment just discussing the video, adding a subscription, and turning on the notification bell. That's really good. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.